she said. Evan makes me feel alive. I don't need you. I have better options. So I took back my $30,000, canceled the wedding, and walked away. Now she's broke and alone. I'm 29, and for the past 4 years, I thought I had everything figured out. I was engaged to Rachel, 27, the woman I believed was my forever. From the start, I was all in with her. When she struggled during grad school, I picked up the slack, covering bills when she came up short, cooking, doing the little things to keep us steady. When she graduated, I felt proud, like we had made it through the tough part together. I didn't just support her emotionally. I invested in our future. Together, we built a joint savings account, and I put in $30,000 of my own money. That money wasn't just numbers on a screen. It was the foundation of the house we planned to buy after the wedding, the start of the family we talked about, and proof that I trusted her with everything I had. For a while, life was good. We'd sit on the couch late at night, laughing at dumb shows, talking about baby names we liked, and sharing plans for the future. I thought we were on the same page. I thought she felt the same security and excitement I did. But over the last year, things changed. Subtle at first, then harder to ignore. She started saying she was too busy or too tired when I suggested a date night. She was suddenly traveling more for work trips and staying out late with people she barely mentioned before. Her social media, which she used to barely touch, turned into a highlight reel of rooftop bars, expensive dinners, and selfies with people I didn't recognize. I'd scroll through her posts, trying not to feel that gnawing sense of distance growing between us. When I asked about it, she'd roll her eyes and accuse me of being controlling, insecure, or jealous. It wasn't jealousy. It was confusion and a quiet dread I didn't want to admit to myself. I kept telling myself, this is just a phase. She's stressed. Things will get better. But the more I tried to bridge the gap, the further she seemed to drift. I remember one night clearly. I had set up a small dinner at home. Nothing fancy, just her favorite pasta, candles, and a bottle of wine. I thought maybe if we slowed down and had some time to ourselves, we could reconnect. She walked in late, barely looked at the table, and muttered something about being too tired to eat. Then she went straight to the bedroom and scrolled through her phone for an hour before falling asleep. I sat there, staring at the untouched plates, wondering if I was losing her without even realizing it. Still, I tried to hold on. We were engaged. We had plans. I didn't want to throw away nearly 4 years together just because things fell off. I told myself she loved me, even if she didn't show it the same way anymore. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Looking back now, all the warning signs were there. I just didn't want to believe them. The final straw came last month. Rachel told me she had to go on a team-building retreat in Miami for the weekend. She said it casually, like it was no big deal. But something about the way she said it didn't sit right with me. Her company was small. I'd never heard of them doing retreats before, and Miami seemed out of place. I didn't push, though. Instead, I nodded, wished her a safe trip, and kept my doubts to myself. 2 days later, I got a text from one of my college buddies. He had been scrolling Facebook when he saw a picture that made him pause. It was Rachel, not at a work retreat, but at a luxury beach resort, standing hand in hand with a guy I recognized all too well, Evan. Evan, her just a colleague. The same guy she insisted I was paranoid about. The same guy she brushed off every time I asked why she was suddenly spending so much time with him. There she was, in a sundress, holding his hand in the hotel lobby like they were on a honeymoon. My chest felt heavy. Not the dramatic, movie-style heartbreak. More like a quiet confirmation of everything I'd been denying for months. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I just waited. When she got back Sunday night, she walked into the apartment like nothing had happened. Her suitcase rolled across the floor, her smile was rehearsed, and she started telling me about how productive the retreat was. I let her finish her story before I pulled up the photo on my phone and slid it across the table. At first, she didn't flinch. She leaned back, crossed her arms, and said, "That was a group trip. You're twisting things." But when I didn't say anything, just stared at her, her tone changed. The mask slipped, and her voice turned sharp. "You're pathetic," she snapped. "Evan makes me feel alive. I don't need you. I have better options." Her words hit me like a cold slap. Not because I didn't already know what was happening, but because she said it out loud, like loyalty meant nothing. Like the years we had built together were disposable. For a long second, I didn't say a word. I just sat there, looking at the woman I thought I'd marry. The woman who was supposed to be my partner. She didn't look guilty. She didn't look sorry. If anything, she looked relieved, like finally saying it freed her from pretending. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. I realized I didn't have to beg, argue, or fight to prove my worth. She'd already made her choice. So I stayed calm. I didn't shout, didn't throw things, didn't break down. I just looked at her and said quietly, "Then you won't need my help anymore either." She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and walked past me toward the bedroom, muttering something about how I'd regret this. But in my mind, I already knew this wasn't the end of a fight. It was the beginning of freedom. That night, after Rachel went to bed, I sat in the living room staring at the ceiling. I didn't feel rage or heartbreak in the way I thought I would. Instead, I felt clarity. For the first time in months, maybe years, I knew exactly what I had to do. I logged into our joint account, withdrew my $30,000, and moved it back into my personal savings. That money was never meant for her to squander. It was for our future, and since that future no longer existed, I wasn't going to leave it sitting there for her convenience. The next morning, I called the wedding venue. Luckily, the contract was under my name, and since we were still months away from the date, I managed to recover most of the deposit. Canceling the venue was oddly liberating. Like closing a door I'd been forcing myself to keep open even when I knew what was on the other side. By evening, I had packed my things and moved out. I left her the apartment, at least for the time being. What she didn't realize was that I had also been covering a portion of the rent without telling her. That, too, stopped immediately. Over the next few days, I quietly untangled every part of my life from hers. She didn't even notice right away. But reality hit her fast. The first sign came when she tried ordering DoorDash. She texted me angrily because her payment was declined. Turns out, she'd been using my card without asking. That same week, her Netflix and Prime accounts stopped working because they were tied to my subscriptions. She tried calling, but I didn't answer. And then the bigger pieces started to collapse. Evan, her shining, better option, vanished almost overnight. His girlfriend had found out about their little Miami getaway, and he cut Rachel off completely. She went from bragging about her new life to begging him for attention, only to be met with silence. Her parents weren't sympathetic either. When they found out the real reason the wedding was canceled, they were furious with her. They refused to cover her rent or expenses, pointing out that she had burned the bridge herself. That was when she realized just how fragile her options really were. By the end of the month, her landlord had filed eviction papers. She was months behind, something I hadn't realized until then. Apparently, the money I'd been giving her to help with bills was going somewhere else. With no one left to lean on, she moved in with her sister just to have a roof over her head. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it online or tell mutual friends every detail. I simply stepped back and let her choices catch up to her. Meanwhile, she tried reaching out a few times. A long text one night read, "You ruined my life. I can't believe you abandoned me when I needed you most." But I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I hadn't ruined anything. I hadn't abandoned her. She had walked away from me long before I ever left. All I did was stop carrying the weight of someone who had no intention of carrying it with me. And without me there to hold her up, her world crumbled. While Rachel's life unraveled, mine began to take a very different path. The day after I officially moved out, I sat in my car outside my new apartment, surrounded by boxes, and realized I felt something I hadn't in years: peace. There was no constant second-guessing, no tension waiting for her mood to shift, no wondering if I was enough. Just silence, and for once, it was comforting. I started reconnecting with old friends I had unintentionally drifted from during my relationship. It was eye-opening to realize how much I had poured into Rachel while letting my own circle shrink. We grabbed beers, caught up, and laughed about dumb memories from college. It reminded me of the version of myself I had almost forgotten, the one who had dreams and confidence outside of her approval. Even at work, people noticed the difference. My boss knew about the canceled wedding and pulled me aside to say he admired how I handled it without letting it consume me. He gave me extra PTO to take time for myself, and not long after, I got promoted. It felt like life was rewarding me for finally choosing myself. Meanwhile, Rachel was spiraling. Word spread quickly among mutual acquaintances. Some pitied her, others quietly admitted they weren't surprised. Apparently, Evan wasn't the first work friend she had crossed lines with. The image she had built up online, carefree, glamorous, untouchable, was falling apart. I didn't watch closely, but updates trickled in whether I wanted them or not. She picked up 2 part-time jobs just to keep up with bills, still living with her sister. The glow she used to carry, the confidence in her posts, was gone. Her Instagram was quiet. One night, months later, I got another text from her. This one was shorter than before. "You ruined my life." I stared at it for a while, not out of anger, but disbelief. Even after everything, she still couldn't see it. I hadn't ruined anything. I had simply stopped being her safety net. She had mistaken my loyalty for weakness and her options for stability. When those options disappeared, she was left with nothing because she had built her world on sand. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Looking back now, I realize Rachel gave me an unintended gift. She forced me to wake up to the truth. Loyalty isn't about convenience, and love isn't about options. Real relationships are built on trust, respect, and partnership, not on seeing who else might be waiting in the wings. She once screamed at me, "I don't need you. I've always had better options." But in the end, she learned what I already knew. Options don't mean loyalty. And as for me, I'm doing better than I ever thought I could. Stronger, freer, and finally living life for myself, not for someone else's validation. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.